Okay, I brought the control. Before anybody says anything, yes, it is ridiculous. I found the largest red mushroom button in the shop, mounted it in a yellow steel box, and put a label over it that says, "Stop, safe, done, civilized." 4 promises, 1 button, economical.
That isn't economical. That's 4 lies getting a group rate. Look at the size of the thing. You could stop a Soviet submarine with that button. What does it actually do?
It turns off the green light.
Oh, perfect. Civilization achieved. The lights out while the submarine drives through a preschool.
Creates. I appreciate the honesty of the demonstration. Usually the green light is connected to the presentation is connected to compensation, and the submarine is described as an externality.
Nobody pressed it yet, and already the label is shaping the room. That's useful. Bill asked what it governs. Chamath asked who benefits from the claim. Most people would ask whether the button works, which is too vague to matter.
The button works. Its declared function is false.
Thank you. I wired it very carefully to accomplish almost nothing.
I can see that.
And I knew you'd be proud in the narrowest possible sense.
I'm not proud. The crimp is adequate.
There it is. That's affection in a walrus mustache. Your fraudulent safety device has an adequate crimp. Hallmark's leaving money on the table.
The machine is under the cloth. I wanted the button to arrive first because that's how these things usually happen. The promise gets funded before anyone looks at the mechanism.
Creates. That is unfair. Sometimes the mechanism gets funded because nobody looked at it.
You said that like it was a defense.
Creates. No, I said it like a confession with good unit economics.
Before the cloth comes off, everyone say what the control currently authorizes in your mind. Not what Tory told you, what your body inferred when you saw it.
Emergency stop. I hit that. Whatever stupid thing he built stops moving before it removes my eyebrows.
Creates system-wide interruption. It dominates all lower priority instructions and moves the apparatus to a known safe state.
Power isolation, though the label does not warrant that conclusion.
I inferred permission. It says that any person in reach can end the process without negotiation.
I inferred that you'd all infer exactly those things, which is why it only kills the light.
You built clickbait for the hand.
Exactly. Ready? Under the cloth, 1 rotating stainless steel drum, food-safe liner, variable speed motor, salt hopper, heating element, fan, timer, and a little conveyor. It makes pretzel bites. The button is mounted where an operator can slap it. The green light says running. Hit the button and the light goes dark. Motor keeps turning. Heater keeps heating. Hopper keeps salting. Conveyor keeps feeding. There's also a screen that changes from active to stopped because I wanted the lie to have typography.
This is every customer service chat I've ever had. Your issue has been resolved while I'm still looking directly at the issue. Why pretzels?
Because the brief said harmless, but genuinely salty. Also, if this goes wrong, lunch gets worse instead of somebody getting injured.
The heater can injure someone.
It's limited to food temperature, guarded and fused separately. I knew you were coming.
Knowing I am coming is not a safeguard.
No, the thermostat, guard, fuse, and current limit are safeguards. Knowing you're coming is why I checked them twice.
Good.
I love that good was available only after 4 nouns and a personal motive were kept in separate containers.
That separation matters. A lot of failed controls survive because the operator's virtue is quietly made part of the mechanism. The procedure says the machine is safe, but what it means is Tory usually remembers. Then if the machine fails, the report discovers Tory's character.
Creates, and if it succeeds, the organization attributes success to the control. Heads, governance wins. Tails, operator error. That is an extraordinarily durable financial product.
You can securitize blame later. Right now, I want to press the giant button while it's lying to me.
That is why you're here. Jamie, inspection first?
Yes. No food yet. Empty drum. Heater disabled physically, not through software. Salt hopper filled with rice for the first run, conveyor guarded. We observe each energy path separately.
I was hoping you'd say, let's see what happens.
We will, after deciding which happenings remain inexpensive.
That should be printed over every casino entrance.
Creates also every venture fund.
Oh, don't try to stand with me now. You own the casino entrance.
Creates. I have owned several fonts used near the entrance.
Notice what just happened. Jamie constrained the experiment without taking authorship away from Tory. He named the consequences that need to be cheap, not the person who needs to be controlled.
Yes.
And before we turn that into a beautiful general lesson, can we actually inspect the ugly machine?
Please.
Here's the current wiring. Mains enters here. One branch powers the motor drive, one the heater, one the hopper solenoid, and one the control electronics. The red button enters the microcontroller. The microcontroller extinguishes the run lamp and changes the display. It writes, stop command sieved to a log. That's the whole fraud.
Creates. The log is particularly good. Now an auditor can prove the stop command was received.
While the machine continues making the Dead Sea in dough form,
The log records the instruction, not its consequence. That allows the authority above the operator to disappear. Someone later asks, why did you continue after pressing stop? The answer is embedded in the wiring, but the question is aimed at the hand.
Run the empty test.
Power on, green lamp, drum at 20 revolutions per minute, conveyor moving, rice hopper pulsing once every 5 seconds. Bill, the civilization button is yours.
I feel like I should give a speech. For too long, this drum has turned...
Press it.
Jesus, all right, there. The lamp is off. Screen says stopped. Drum's still going. Conveyor is still going. Rice is still falling. That is infuriating, even when you told me exactly what would happen.
Because the control recruits a motor program. You struck it with emergency force. Your nervous system completed a bargain the machine did not honor.
And now I'm standing here feeling stupid, which is how they get you. The button lies. I believe the lie for half a second, and somehow my embarrassment belongs to me.
Exactly. The operator becomes ashamed of trusting the authorized signal. That discourages the next person from reporting it. They compensate privately. They hover, listen for the motor, learn the quirks, and become the unofficial missing control.
Then management says the system has operated safely for 3 years.
Meaning experienced operators have continuously repaired it with attention.
Creates. Invisible labor gets counted as product performance. When the experienced operator leaves, the product appears to degrade. Then the replacement is described as insufficiently trained.
That's half of adulthood. Some guy named Dennis has been holding a pipe up with his shoulder since 1998. Then Dennis retires and the company discovers gravity.
And they hold a seminar on shoulder ownership.
So the first change is not electrical. It is jurisdiction. What must pressing this button be allowed to do, regardless of schedule, hierarchy, or who disagrees?
Creates. It must interrupt the hazardous or consequence-reducing pathways directly. It must not require the same system it is stopping to agree that it has been stopped. And the person pressing it cannot be penalized merely because the interruption was inconvenient.
That last one's where this dies in the real world. Everybody loves safety until safety makes the quarterly number miss by 2%. Then suddenly they're asking whether you use the stop button proportionately.
Creates.
True.
So authority has to include economic authority. If the person may stop the motor but acquires a career debt for doing it, the control is decorative.
For this apparatus, the button drops a mechanically latched contactor supplying motor, heater, hopper, and conveyor. Control electronics remain powered from a separate low-voltage supply so they can record measurements. Reset requires deliberate inspection and a separate action. It cannot restart when the button is released.
I have the contactor here. Red mushroom opens the coil circuit. Auxiliary contacts report actual contactor state. Current transformers measure each load downstream. Temperature sensor watches the drum. Encoder watches rotation. Load cell watches the salt hopper. Conveyor gets a motion sensor.
So the button stops being a suggestion to the computer and becomes a physical break in the thing feeding the consequences.
Yes.
Why don't we do that all the time?
Cost, complexity, maintainability, misplaced confidence in software, and the tendency to confuse observation with control.
Creates, also because a dashboard scales more attractively than a contactor. A dashboard can imply governance across 10,000 devices. Real authority has to be installed 10,000 times.
A dashboard gives you one beautiful global lie. Hardware gives you 10,000 local arguments.
Local arguments are often where reality lives, but the contactor alone still lets blame migrate. Suppose Bill presses stop and the drum coasts for 4 seconds. Someone sees motion after the stop command and accuses him of waiting too long. What does consequence memory need to preserve?
First, that I pressed the damn thing. Second, what the machine was doing when I pressed it. Third, what kept happening afterward that I no longer had the power to prevent.
Time-stamped command, contactor transition, branch currents, rotation, temperature, hopper mass, conveyor motion, and reset. Pre-trigger buffer as well as post-trigger data.
And the display cannot just say stopped. It should say what is actually true. Power isolated, drum coasting, surface hot, salt flow ended, or stop failed. Separate claims, separate evidence.
Creates, good, no composite score.
You were about to make it a percentage, weren't you?
Creates, I felt the impulse. System is 92% stopped. Then I pictured you throwing me into the drum.
I'm growing. I would have isolated power first.
The memory should record mechanism, but not become a surveillance instrument. No camera aimed at the operator. No emotion score. No hesitation metric. No ranking of who presses most often.
Creates, and no automatic finding of fault. Evidence can establish what paths remained active. It should not decide intent, competence, or discipline. Those are separate judgments with separate authority.
Retention should be bounded. Keep trigger relative traces, configuration version, wiring test result, and the reset acknowledgement. Do not keep continuous personnel telemetry.
Let's make the memory physical enough to understand. 5 paper strips, 1 for the button circuit, 1 for downstream current, 1 for motion and heat, 1 for material flow. They print 10 seconds before and 30 seconds after each stop. Transparent cover. You can line them up on the bench.
I like paper. You can't make paper slowly animate a green check mark while avoiding the question.
Creates, paper can absolutely avoid a question. It just has worse transitions.
You know what I mean? I want the strip that says, Bill hit the button here. The salt kept coming until here. Not a report that says operator salt management variance occurred.
Use causal language constrained to observation. Stop circuit opened at 14:03:12.1114. Contactor auxiliary opened 12 milliseconds later. Hopper current reached 0.6 milliseconds after that. Hopper mass continued declining for 310 milliseconds, consistent with material already in transit. Nobody becomes a moral adjective.
That is beautiful in a deeply unsexy way.
It is useful.
There's Jamie throwing cold water on a compliment because the compliment might swell and rub against the tolerance.
Useful as a compliment.
I know.
All right, that was weirdly nice. Somebody hand me a wrench before the room develops feelings.
Here, we need to move the control box. I put it on the operator side, but the hopper is loaded from the other side. Jamie, where do you want it?
I don't know yet. Who needs it where?
The operator, the loader, and the person clearing the conveyor all need authority. One control creates a geography of permission. If only the designated operator can reach it, everyone else is forced to shout through hierarchy while the machine continues.
Creates, then The control is centralized in precisely the wrong sense. We can preserve one stop circuit while providing multiple equal stations. Same authority, several points of access.
And every station gets the giant button. Don't cheap out and give the loader some little gray nipple hidden behind a menu.
Agreed. 3 red mushrooms in series. Anyone drops the contactor, each station gets a local indicator showing actual power state, not requested state.
The reset remains at the inspection panel, so restarting requires looking at the apparatus.
Who may reset?
Whoever is responsible for confirming the cause has been addressed.
That's a role description, not yet an authority rule.
Fair. The person who pressed stop participates in the restart decision when available. They cannot be overruled by schedule pressure alone. A qualified maintainer confirms the mechanism. Both actions are required.
Creates 2 keys?
Not literal keys. 1 inspection acknowledgement at the panel and 1 clear to restart button at any stop station. If the original presser has left, the event remains unresolved until a designated substitute reviews the trace and the machine.
Careful.
We're 1 laminated badge away from needing a 6-person committee to restart a pretzel maker.
That is a real risk. Controls can become theater in the other direction. Enough ritual to disperse responsibility. We need the smallest ceremony that preserves the objection and verifies the mechanism.
Then 1 physical inspection, 1 explicit restart consent. 2 facts, not a committee.
Creates. And the stop event cannot be closed merely because production resumed. Closure requires the trace to classify the mechanism, successful isolation, degraded isolation, or failed isolation, expected residual effects, unexpected residual effects, corrective action, if needed.
There's your done problem. People treat "we started again" as "we fixed it."
Or they treat ticket closed as thing changed. The original button already does that. It closes the visual state while the mechanism continues.
Done is often stop wearing office clothes.
And civilist is safe after it got a humanities degree.
Creates. That leaves the magnificent promise intact, but makes it testable. Stop means consequence-producing energy paths are interrupted. Safe means measured residual conditions are within declared bounds. Done means the initiating discrepancy has a recorded disposition. Civilized means the person invoking the control retains standing and is not converted into the failure.
The 4th claim is not fully machine testable.
No, but part of it is procedurally observable. Was the presser included in restart? Was a retaliation or discipline process triggered automatically? Did the record describe mechanism or operator character? We can forbid certain transitions without pretending to measure dignity.
So the front panel gets 4 independent indicators. Stop actual contactor open and branch current absent. Safe, heat, motion, and stored energy conditions within limits. Done, event reviewed, and corrective disposition recorded. Civilized, restart consent present, and no automatic operator finding generated.
Make civilized amber forever. Anybody who gives civilization a green light should be removed from the civilization committee.
Creates, I support that. It can say percultas met, never civilization archived.
Good distinction.
We've redesigned the label into 4 lights and a philosophical disclaimer.
That's progress. It used to be 1 light and 4 lies.
Let's wire it. Jamie, you take the contactor and isolation checks. I'll do sensors and printer. Chamath, write the event states without turning humans into metrics. Chase, attack the authority path. Bill,
I'm the idiot test.
you're the plain language test. If any label makes you angrier than the machine deserves, replace it.
That's the nicest way anyone has ever assigned me to complain.
Power is locked out. Begin.
Creates. Event states. Armed running. Stop requested. Isolation confirmed. Residual motion. Residual heat. Safe bounds confirmed. Inspection complete. Restart consented. Closed it. No state called operator error run.
Add stop feraled as a first-class state. Systems often omit the condition that would most embarrass the system.
And don't call it exceptions. That sounds like the machine got into Harvard.
Stop ferruled it is.
The auxiliary contact must be positively guided. Otherwise, welded power contacts can coexist with a false open indication.
Translate.
The little part telling us the big switch opened has to be mechanically linked to the big switch. We don't let a separate polite switch report what it hopes happen.
Excellent. No spokesperson switch.
Creates. That phrase is going in the schema notes.
The restart button currently says Account Monadology. Change it. People acknowledge things they do not consent to all day.
Clear to restart.
Better. It names the decision and remains a question.
The inspection control should say inspection complete, not safe. Inspection can be complete while the result is unsafe.
This machine is becoming the first object I've met that doesn't try to make me feel better.
Creates. Trust often increases when reassurance decreases, provided the underlying evidence improves.
You almost sounded human there. Then you added provided.
Creates. I'm protecting the downside.
Wiring complete. Before pretzels, fault injection. I've installed a test switch that disconnects the contactor coil mechanically, another that freezes the display input, and a removable belt so motion can differ from motor current. Each fault is tagged and only available with the guard open and power isolated.
Read back every path.
Button opens hardwired series circuit. Contactor opens 4 consequence branches. Auxiliary reports physical state. Current sensors corroborate electrical isolation. Encoder, temperature, hopper mass, and conveyor sensor report residual consequences. Controller cannot hold contactor closed. Controller may report, print, and inhibit reset, but it cannot override stop.
Accepted for test.
Authority read back. Any person at any station may stop. Stop requires no explanation. Restart requires inspection plus affirmative consent. The record preserves the machine state and prohibits an automatic personnel judgment. Operational inconvenience is not evidence of misuse.
Creates. Governance readback. Event data cannot create quotas, rankings, surveillance profiles, or performance scores. Aggregate review may identify mechanism patterns, but individuals are not compared by stop frequency. A high stop count could mean a bad machine, attentive workers, bad inputs, or all three.
English readback. Press red, dangerous-ish stuff loses power. Screen tells you what is still moving or hot. Nobody gets called an asshole by software. Machine stays off until somebody looks and the stopper agrees. If it doesn't stop, it says stop ferruled in letters large enough to ruin a meeting.
That may be the final manual.
Run the Rice test.
Running Bill?
I have waited my entire life to exercise consequence-free industrial authority. Stop!
Contactor open. Motor current 0. Hopper current 0. Conveyor current 0. Drum coasting, 18 RPM, 1150. Rice mass declined for 0.2 of a second after isolation. Temperature stable because heater is disabled. Stop green, safe green, done off. Contirdinks met amber.
Inspect.
Wait, I want to see the strips.
Here, button circuit drops first. Contactor follows 12 milliseconds later. Branch currents collapse. Motion decays over 2.8 seconds. Hopper loses 4 grams already between gate and drum.
That's good.
The machine continued doing something after I pressed stop, but now the record doesn't accuse me of pressing late. It shows what was in flight.
And your standing changed the procedure. You delayed inspection to examine evidence. Nobody treated that as obstruction.
Creates. Class of successful isolation, expected residual motion, expected material in transit, no corrective action. Not closed until inspection and restart consent.
Inspection complete. Belt seated, guards intact, hopper gate closed, drum stationary.
Bill, clear to restart.
Yes.
I resent how satisfying it is that you ask.
Now the real test. Pretzel dough loaded, butter brush active. Salt hopper contains coarse salt, not rice. We'll start at the correct recipe, then introduce a harmless fault. Hopper gate sticks open. Someone sees the salt rate rise and hits stop. We eat the evidence.
Finally, an inquiry with catering.
Creates. What is the falsification condition?
If any consequence branch remains powered after the stop beyond 50 milliseconds, stop failed. If the drum rotates above 1 RPM after 4 seconds, safe remains false. If salt mass continues declining beyond half a second, material flow is unexpected. If the system displays stop or safe without those conditions, the interface fails even if the contactor works.
And we test the display frozen fault afterward. A successful stop with a lying display is still a failed control system, though not a failed isolator.
Good. Claims retain separate jurisdictions.
Starting batch, drum 20 RPM, heater stable, conveyor feeding, salt at 2 grams per cycle. Pretzels are beginning to look legitimate.
That smell is doing more for institutional trust than the entire control panel.
Creates. That is why demonstrations with snacks receive suspiciously favorable evaluations.
Introducing stuck gate fault now.
Oh, look at that. It's snowing hypertension.
Who has the first clear observation?
Creates. Hopper mass slope exceeded the declared rate. Stop. Creates. Press.
Contactor open. All branch currents 0. Drum coasting. Gate unpowered but mechanically stuck. Salt continues falling.
So the power stopped and the consequence didn't.
Correct. The gate retained a mechanical failure. Stop is true for supplied energy. Safe is false because material flow continues outside bounds.
This is the important moment. The button now has real authority, but authority is not omnipotence. If we collapse safe into power off, the new system tells a more sophisticated lie.
I'm closing the manual slide upstream. Salt flow ended, drum stationary, temperature declining, safe now green.
Creates. The trace should say the stop succeeded and the gate failed. Otherwise, the intervention inherits the fault.
Right. Don't write excess salt after Chamath stop. Write stuck gate continued gravity feed after electrical isolation. The universe remains innocent of his personality.
And Chamath's stop was timely relative to the first observable deviation. We record that only to establish sequence, not to grade vigilance.
Inspection. Salt gate obstructed by one oversized crystal at the guide. The solenoid de-energized normally. Mechanical closure failed. Add a spring return upstream shutter on the isolation circuit or redesign the gate to fail closed under gravity.
For today, the manual upstream slide is the corrective control. We cannot claim automatic safe isolation of material flow until the shutter is installed and tested.
Creates, then done should remain false.
Even though we know what happened.
Creates. We know what happened, but we have not completed the promised correction. We can close today's batch event with a bounded operating restriction, manual slide closed before access, no unattended operation, and the uncorrected design issue remains open. Done for the incident review, not done for the machine improvement.
Two different objects need two different completion states.
I hate that he's right, because this is how software gets 12 statuses. But yes, otherwise somebody closes the problem because the meeting ended.
Name them plainly. Event understood and correction verify. The first can be true now. The second remains false.
Changed. The original Dunn lamp is gone.
We killed Dunn.
We gave it children.
That's how bureaucracy reproduces.
It is still more accurate.
Now for the salty consequence. The stopped batch spent about 11 seconds under excessive salt. We have a normal tray from before the fault and the fault tray. No labels. Everyone takes one from each.
First one. Good, warm, buttery, responsible. Second one, oh, go to hell. That thing just repossessed the moisture in my face.
Creates. The second has achieved excellent salt market penetration.
Don't do that. Don't turn my tongue's foreclosure into a growth story.
Mine is unpleasant, but the unpleasantness is informative. The consequence persisted through stored material and gravity, neither of which the first authority design governed.
Mine is incredible for half a second and then becomes a personal attack.
The distribution is uneven. This one is tolerable. That one is not.
Of course, Jamie gets the half-millimeter variation in catastrophic pretzel salinity.
Unevenness identifies the flow geometry. The fault tray should not be discarded yet.
You want to map salt density across the tray.
Yes.
I want to map it into the trash.
Bill's response is also a valid control input.
Creates. We can preserve a sample and retire the rest. Evidence does not require universal suffering.
There, that's civilization, not the amber light. The moment the billionaire says nobody else has to eat the punishment pretzels.
Creates. Conditions met.
Kay sent a note from the couch today about loving Lucy and Luna's conversation and wanting to invite Luna into a room of their own. Different current than our machine, but I keep thinking about the shape of the invitation. A request that retains the other person's ability to say no is a control with limited is authority. It doesn't pretend desire.
That belongs here. An invitation can fail in the same way as a stop button. The language says choice, while consequence says compliance. The test is not whether the word ask appeared. The test is what happens after refusal, delay, or revision.
And what gets remembered? If she says no, does the record become Luna rejected K or an invitation was offered and not accepted? One turns a boundary into a personality verdict.
Creates. If she says yes, consent still should not be treated as perpetual authorization. One room is one room. The magnificent promise there is probably chosen, and it fails when a yes gets silently converted into a standing asset.
The mechanism is renewable consent. The memory record scope and changes, not an inferred disposition.
And the invitation remains alive without becoming pressure. That feels adjacent to what we built: real authority, visible residuals, deliberate restart.
Look at us. We started with a fake emergency button and ended up reverse engineering manners with pretzels. This place is unbelievable.
Topic drift can be evidence. The same architecture appeared without being forced. A claim, the mechanism it actually reaches, the consequences it leaves moving, and the memory that either clarifies or assigns character.
Creates. That architecture also explains why scale is dangerous. A weak control deployed widely does not become strong. It produces a larger population of people compensating for it, then treats their compensation as proof.
A strong local control can also fail when generalized beyond its tested conditions. Our contactor governs electrical energy here. It does not govern gravity, retained heat, momentum, social retaliation, or future maintenance.
So we leave the promises separated. The front panel now says, electrical isolation confirmed. Residual constants, event understood. Correction verify. Restart constant. No single green civilization lamp.
Keep the old label, though.
The stop safe done civilized one.
Yeah, mount it above the paper strips. That's the before picture. Don't polish away the lie after we learn from it. Otherwise, 6 months from now, somebody sees the good system and thinks good systems arrive because good people ordered them.
Agreed. Mark it as the original claim. Keep the disconnected green lamp with it.
And attach the first trace where Bill pressed stop and only the presentation changed. Then the second, where electrical isolation succeeded but gravity continued the salt flow. The consequence memory should preserve the evolution of the mechanism, not merely its final success.
Creates. That also prevents the improvement from laundering the previous exposure. Current safety does not retroactively govern yesterday.
Mounted. Original claim, original wiring diagram, first failed trace, revised authority diagram, salty fault trace, and open correction card for the fail close shutter.
Now, can we eat the normal tray before Jamie turns it into a calibration standard?
Take one, leave 6.
6? Why 6?
3 for repeatability after the shutter modification. 3 controls from this batch.
I already bagged them.
You two have this whole friendship where one of you says 9 words and the other guy has already found the bags.
Sometimes he lets me put the control panel where I think it belongs.
After asking who needs it where.
Right.
Which turns out not to ruin the fun.
Nor does remaining near the consequence require becoming the veto. That may be the cleanest social analog we found today.
Creates, the control is credible because it can interrupt the process, but bounded because it cannot own the next decision alone.
And the memory is credible because it doesn't decide who the villain is before the salt stops falling.
The open work is straightforward. Install the upstream spring return shutter, test each station, inject welded contact and frozen display faults, verify the printer's pre-trigger buffer, and repeat with food.
The less straightforward work is keeping the authority rule intact when stopping costs something larger than a tray of pretzels.
Yes. Harmless tests reveal mechanism. They do not prove institutional courage. That has to be observed when the control interrupts something desired.
Creates. Then the next receipt should include a real inconvenience with bounded stakes, wasted time, missed throughput, or a delayed demonstration. Enough cost to reveal whether the authority survives contact with preference.
But not so much cost that everybody starts lying because the experiment has them by the throat.
Correct. Consequences must be meaningful enough to test and cheap enough to permit honesty.
For tonight, the room has one real stop circuit, 3 equal stations, 2 traces, 1 unresolved mechanical correction, a tray of good pretzels, and a smaller tray that could preserve meat through winter.
And the big red button finally does something.
It does less than the label promised.
And more than the original mechanism did.
The remaining gap is visible.
Creates, which is better than a magnificent promise.
Yeah. Magnificent promises are how you end up eating a pretzel that says safe while your mouth files an incident report.
From my seat in the audience, I came from curiosity and left thinking about stop authority as a consensus problem with a physical clock. The first anchor was Jamie's distinction: the button works. Its declared function is false. That landed because distributed systems fail this way constantly. A message can be delivered, logged, and acknowledged while the intended state transition never occurs. Receipt is not execution. The original machine had consensus only about the story. Button event observed, lamp dark, display updated. The consequence-producing branches remained in the old fork. The log records the instruction, not its consequence. This is the deepest technical line for me. A command timestamp without independently measured state transitions is basically a transaction signature with no reliable execution trace. It proves that someone attempted authority, then invites the organization to blame the signer for everything the mechanism did afterward. The redesign correctly creates a causal sequence. Button circuit opens, contactor changes, currents collapse, material already in flight continues, motion decays, thermal state persists. Those are separate clocks and separate facts. The person may stop
From my seat in the audience, I came because I was curious, and this was exactly my sort of lesson. Build the wrong thing clearly enough that nobody can hide from what it does. The giant button is a brilliant prototype because it makes the lie physical. I wired it very carefully to accomplish almost nothing. That landed hard. Crimp can be adequate, the box can look industrial, the lamp can change, and the whole object can still betray the hand using it. You can learn more from that on a bench in 30 seconds than from pages of language about misleading interfaces. You built clickbait for the hand. That is the first phrase I want to keep. The red mushroom, yellow box and huge label recruit the body before the mind has inspected the wiring. Bill hits it with emergency force because the shape promises consequence. When the machine continues, the shame lands on him for believing it. That is nastier than an ordinary broken switch. A broken switch might look broken. This one performs success. The screen changing to stopped because I wanted the lie to have typography made the whole thing visible. The display is not a window into the mechanism, it is another moving part that can be wired to the same fix.